Global warming is the ongoing rise of the average temperature of the Earth's climate system and has been demonstrated by direct temperature measurements and by measurements of various effects of the warming. Mitigation efforts to address global warming include the development of low carbon energy technologies, policies to reduce fossil fuel emissions, and forest preservation. Societies and governments are also working to adapt to current and future global warming impacts, including improved coastline protection, better disaster management, and the development of more resistant crops. The greenhouse effect is the process by which radiation from a planet's atmosphere warms the planet's surface to a temperature above what it would be without this atmosphere. The greenhouse gases are a cocktail of water, vapor, carbon dioxide, and ozone retaining the rays of sun to support Earth's life. If the world warms by 1 degree, the Arctic will be ice-free for half the year. Hurricanes will begin hitting the South Atlantic. No more crops because of drought, and it also can turn American places with a lot of grass into desert. By 2 degrees, glaciers would disappear and insects will migrate to unknown and strange directions. When water warms, the corals begin miss the algae they need to survive, and so many reefs died. More than 1 million different species live and eat from those reefs. They need them to survive, but they are disappearing. With 3 degrees warm, the Amazon rainforest will dry out, and the snow layers of the Alps will melt. It would affect much the Amazon because it is an iconic region very important, ecologically, economically, and environmentally. Also, there could be more energy in the oceans that can cause more hurricanes and stronger storms. The summer in 2003 opened the window into life in a world 3 degrees warmer. Most of all, elderly patients arrived to the hospital and died because of heat. Maybe this was the first catastrophe caused by global warming. In that 2003, in Europe, the photosynthesis was breaking down. Plants tried to absorb CO2, transform it into oxygen, and release it into the air, but at that time some plants retain oxygen and release the CO2. If the world warms by 4 degrees, oceans will rise. Bangladesh will be washed away, Egypt inundated, Venice submerged, glaciers disappeared, northern Canada will be good in agriculture. The poles will collapse. One of the most wonderful rivers would be self-destructed. With 4 degrees more, the oceans could rise 3 to 4 feet. Despite all this, some people doubt about climate change because they are uncertain about uncertainty. When scientists talk about all the factors about climate change, many people think they are not confident in their findings. For example, Patricia Linville and Gregory Fisher argue that we have a finite pool of worry, and climate change is an aloe in that water. Also, we can notice that we are like puppets controlled by the strings of social conformity. So if we are part of some social group that doesn't believe in climate change, the most common thing is to stay believing in that to continue being part of that group. Many other people think that climate change is fake because they said there is no real proof evidence. Though there is evidence out there, those who deny climate change exists refuse to look at evidence or do not believe in that because of their own experiences. Maybe because in the place where they live is not very noticeable. Another cause is the distrust of science. People do not believe in climate change because they do not believe in science. Some people said climate change is fake just because some scientists cannot come to a mutual agreement on whether it exists or what causes it. They claim that global warming no longer exists and that the average temperature remained consistent for several decades. But global warming does exist, and it is something that, if not treated in time, will have a great negative impact on the entire world.
Homeostasis is a natural process in the body of every organism, regulated by all systems that maintains a constant internal balance. It comes from the word homeo, which means similar, and the word stasis, which means standing still. It is composed of a stimulus, that is, whatever occurs in the environment that throws the body out of balance. A sensor, which is the organ of the body that detects the change in the environment and signals the integrator. The integrator is the organ that receives the information and decides the course of action. And finally, the effector is the organ that carries out the function signaled by the integrator. For example, in the case of osmoregulation, whether there is an excess or a deficiency of water, the sensor are the osmoreceptors in the hypothalamus, the control would be the hypothalamus, the effectors are the kidneys and antidiuretic hormone, and the process would be if a water deficiency, kidneys reabsorb more water and release concentrated urine, or in a water excess, kidneys release urine with more water and in larger quantities. Also, we have the negative feedback, which is the process that allows the body to return to its natural state. It acts as a counter effect of the initial stimulus, either increasing or decreasing a condition in the body. For example, when we are really cold, our body starts to shiver. This shivering makes our muscles move, which makes us create heat to be warm again. All these are processes our body makes without us knowing about them, but that make our body being in a constant balance. This balance is the homeostasis, and it's the state in which our body should always be to be healthy.
The amazing artwork you're looking at now takes place in the cells of all living things, the production of proteins. This process consists of two processes called transcription and translation. In eukaryotic cells, transcription takes place in the nucleus. During transcription, DNA is used as a template to make a molecule of messenger mRNA. The molecule mRNA then leaves the nucleus and goes to a ribosome in the cytoplasm, where translation occurs. During translation, the genetic code in mRNA is read and used to make a protein. Now I will emphasize in each of the phases of production of proteins. First, there is transcription, that it takes place in three steps: initiation, elongation, and termination. Initiation is the beginning of transcription. It occurs when the enzyme RNA polymerase binds to a region of the gene called the promoter. This signals the DNA to unwind so the enzyme can read the bases in one of the DNA strands. The enzyme is ready to make a strand of mRNA with a complementary sequence of bases. Then the second one is elongation, that is an addition of nucleotides to the mRNA strand. The third one, and last one, is termination, and it is the ending of transcription. The mRNA strand is complete and it detaches from the DNA proteins. In translation, the instructions of mRNA are read, and tRNA brings the correct sequence of amino acids to the ribosome. Then rRNA helps bond them between the amino acids, producing a polypeptide chain. After a polypeptide chain is synthesized, it may undergo additional processing to form the finished protein. Thank you.